The day Maya discovered someone had named her, she was searching a community forum for a lost glove. She'd typed in the name of the jogging trail near her house, hoping someone had turned it in at the trailhead lot, and a result came back. Not about the glove, but about a thread called Morning Bird Sightings. She clicked it, expecting bird photos. The first image showed a woman mid-stride on the cedar path, ponytail swinging, shot with a telephoto lens from somewhere in the tree line. It took her a full 4 seconds to recognize herself. The post was 18 months old and had 43 replies. Beneath the first image were dozens more, time-stamped and sorted by season. Fall Maya in her orange jacket, Winter Maya with the reflective vest, Spring Maya in the rain, head down, water coming off her cap. Someone had been documenting her consistently across an entire year and a half, close enough in some shots to read the logo on her shirt. She sat with her phone in her lap for a long time before she thought about the white sedan. The thread had given her a name. Now she started giving her memories one too. It had been parked at the trailhead lot on and off for at least a year. She'd noticed it the way you notice a familiar lamppost, always empty when she passed. She hadn't thought about it once. She was thinking about it now, and she was also thinking about the Saturday 2 Octobers ago when she'd left her running shoes on the porch to air out and come back to find them exactly where she'd left them, except the laces were tied. She hadn't tied them. She'd assumed her roommate had done it as a joke. Her roommate had moved out the previous spring. She scrolled to the most recent photo. It was from 11 days ago. She was stretching against the wooden fence post at the halfway point, the one she always used. Mouth slightly open, eyes closed. Whoever took it had been no more than 30 feet away and slightly elevated. She studied the tree line in the background and understood exactly which branch they had been sitting on. The angle tells you everything, if you know how to read it. She did not go for a run the next morning. She sat at her kitchen window instead, watching the trailhead lot from across the road, and at 6:42, the white sedan pulled in. No one got out. The car just sat there, engine idling, for 40 minutes. She did not move from the window. It eventually reversed and left, and she stayed at the window another 20 minutes after that, hands around her coffee, thinking about the 18 months of photographs and all the mornings she had run that trail without once looking at the tree line. When she finally moved, it was to get her keys. She drove to the lot and walked to the gravel patch where the sedan always parked. Near the edge of the space, she found a lens cap. The brand stamp on its inner rim matched the camera model the forum poster had mentioned in a reply thread, when another user asked how they achieved such clean long-distance shots. She photographed it in place before she picked it up. She put it in a bag. She called the police. The officer who took her statement told her that no law had been technically broken yet, but that she should document everything and call back immediately if the situation escalated. She drove home a different route, locked the door, checked the porch. Her spare shoes, the pair she kept outside for yard work, the ones she hadn't touched in over a week, were sitting where she'd left them. The laces were tied. If you're enjoying this, a like really helps the channel grow. The first thing Dale noticed was that the milk was wrong. Not spoiled, not mislabeled. Wrong in the way that is hard to explain without sounding unhinged. He worked overnight shifts at a freight depot and slept from 8 in the morning until mid-afternoon. He'd bought a half-gallon on Tuesday. By Thursday, it should have had 4 days left. When he checked, it was more than half gone. He'd only used it twice, he was certain. He lived alone. He noted it and moved on, because there was no explanation that didn't require saying something ridiculous out loud. The explanation arrived slowly, the way bad news always does. The following week, a throw pillow was on the wrong end of the couch. He moved it back without thinking. The week after, the bathroom soap was noticeably lower than it should have been, and there were watermarks on the tile in a pattern that dried but looked recent, in a configuration he didn't recognize as his own. He'd have dismissed it entirely, except that he showered at night before his shift, and the marks were fresh in the mornings. Small things. He told himself he was misremembering. He was good at telling himself that. What he could not tell himself about was the phone charger. He found it behind a couch cushion on a Saturday, a compact white charger for a device type he did not own. He turned it over for a long time, running through every guest he'd had in the past several months. His sister in March, a co-worker in January. Neither used this type of charger. He set it on the kitchen counter and stared at it while he ate. And that was when every small thing he'd dismissed snapped together into a shape he could not unsee. The pillow, the soap, the milk. Something was using his apartment during the hours he was away, and had been for long enough to feel comfortable. He went to the building manager that afternoon and asked about key records for his unit. The previous tenant, a man who had vacated under unclear circumstances 14 months before Dale moved in, had never returned the secondary key. The manager admitted this with the practiced calm of someone who had decided it wasn't a problem until it became one. They changed the locks that afternoon. Dale installed a door sensor that evening, the kind that sends a phone notification when the frame is broken. He configured it carefully. He went to work. He did not sleep on the bus the way he usually did. He checked his phone at 5:30 in the morning, an hour before his shift ended. The sensor had triggered at 4:22 a.m. Someone had approached his door while he was at work and found the lock changed. There was no second alert, no rattling, no second attempt. Just the one notification, time-stamped and quiet. Dale stared at it on the small screen and thought about what that meant. Not that someone had tried to break in, but that someone had expected to walk in. Had walked in, routinely, for an unknown stretch of time. Had eaten his food and used his soap and charged a device and left, and done it so cleanly that he'd nearly convinced himself he was wrong. He did not go inside when he got home. He called the police from the stairwell. While he waited, he counted backward through 14 months of overlap between his tenancy and the missing key, and thought about how thoroughly a stranger can learn you before you ever know they exist. Subscribe so you never miss a new story. The first time Renata thought something was wrong, she told herself she was being uncharitable. Her neighbor across the path, an older man named Gerald who kept a tidy garden, had mentioned over the fence that she looked tired. "You were up late. I noticed your light." And she'd smiled and said yes, long week, and gone inside. It was a small thing, old neighborhood, houses close together, people notice lit windows. She filed it away and moved on, until the following Wednesday, when he mentioned what she'd had for dinner. He said it casually, something about the smell of garlic pasta drifting over, a friendly comment between neighbors. She smiled and said yes, she cooked a lot. She stood at her kitchen sink that evening and tried to remember if she'd had the windows open. She hadn't. It had been raining. Smells travel in unexpected ways, she told herself. She was new to the street and didn't want to start off suspicious of a harmless old man with a vegetable garden. Over the following weeks, Gerald continued to know things. He knew she'd been on a long phone call Sunday afternoon. He knew she'd gotten a delivery she seemed excited about. He knew she'd had company on a Thursday who left close to midnight. Each observation came wrapped in warmth, a smile, a neighborly frame. She found herself adjusting her behavior without naming why. Closing her blinds earlier, parking further down the street, turning off the porch light when she came home late at night. She was accommodating something she hadn't yet identified. She found the camera on a Wednesday morning in October, clearing dead leaves from the front path. She moved a decorative stone near the door, the hollow kind with a compartment in the base, left there by the previous tenant, and inside it was a small wireless camera, lens aimed at her entrance. It sat on a slim battery pack. The indicator light was green and steady. She stood very still for a moment, holding the stone, looking at the lens looking back at her. She replayed every conversation with Gerald in sequence. The tiredness comment, her late light visible from his front window, the pasta, her kitchen visible at an angle from the side of the path, the phone call, the delivery, the Thursday guest. All of it mappable to what a door-level camera angled up the path would capture. He hadn't been perceptive, he hadn't been lucky. He'd had a live feed, and he had been watching her arrivals and departures for however long that camera had been in the stone. She turned and looked at his house. He was standing at his front window, watching her. He didn't move. He didn't pretend to be doing something else. He just watched, hands at his sides, with the stillness of someone who had been doing exactly this for a very long time and saw no reason yet to stop. Renata put the stone down carefully, walked back inside, and pulled up the rental listing she had signed 11 months ago. She scrolled through the listing photos, the front path, the door, the garden. The decorative stone was already there in the images, in exactly the same position, angled exactly as she'd found it. He had placed it before she ever arrived. He had known she was coming before she turned the first key. She called the police, and when the officer came and bagged the camera, she did not look at Gerald's window. She already knew he was still there.